Good morning, everybody. I know it's been a while since I've posted anything. I think my last major video was in August, right after I got backed into. Things have just been crazy. I haven't had time to edit, and I just simply stopped shooting video because it was all work and no time to do anything else. I'm on my way home now. I've got a little bit of time on this load, so I'm shooting a video. Wanted to catch you guys up on some things that have happened with the truck. So, first and foremost, in September, after I got backed into, Crete went through and replaced my sidewall. They replaced the side box door and both of my fairings here. They replaced the skirt. Definitely looks a lot better. Since then, I've added a floodlight on either side for my reverse lights. I'll get into that here in a minute. And I have added lollipops on both sides. I'm actually getting ready to replace that one, and I'll explain that one here in a minute. I've also got a floodlight on either side, which is tied into my utility lamp. Helps light things up a little bit better. So let's go to the other side and I'll explain what happened to the lollipop. About a week after I got the lollipop wired in, car picked up a rock, hit my lollipop, punched a rock through it. So I wound up buying another one, but it's a different design. And now that I've had time to play with it, a better design. So I'm going to replace the other one with that one, or that style I should say, because I like that a lot better. And the other thing I've done, and I was talking about this in one of my introduction videos with this truck. A couple days ago, I managed to be swinging by the house. I had ordered headlights for the truck, but hadn't been home to do anything with them. So, not yesterday, but the day before, I installed the new headlights. I'm still trying to get them adjusted. I'll put a little clip in here about all of the functions on this. But United Pacific could have done a couple of things a little bit different with the design. So, with the OEM headlights, those mesh up with holes that are already in the hood for adjusting your high beam and your low beam, left and right, up and down. These aftermarket headlights don't line up with any of the OEM holes. So, in order to adjust the headlights, whether it be a major adjustment or a minor adjustment, it's a process. So, on the OEM headlights, they build in a headlight adjustment hole right here. Okay? However, on this particular set of headlights, all of the adjustments are back here. So, in order to adjust it, you have to take the mud guard off, which is Just 4 bolts. They're 10 millimeter, by the way, just in case anybody's curious. Everything for the headlight assembly is 10 millimeter. So the 4 bolts that hold this in, that's a 10 millimeter socket, and then the 4 bolts holding the mudguard on are 10 millimeter as well. But once you get the mudguard off, then you take the nuts off and you have to drop the headlight out, make your adjustment, put everything back together, and see if it's accurate. Well, that also means that you can't see what the headlight's doing. You can't do anything with the hood closed, so it's kind of a guessing game. I just made a major adjustment, so I'll get to see tonight what happens. But they're bright. They're good and bright. A lot better than OEM. I will say that. So as far as this light's concerned, I ran my own wire harness. I just simply matched up to what was on the light. It follows the standard color code. White is your ground. Black is your tail lights. Red is your stop turn. What that does for you is it allows you to have some choice in how this light works. It can be just a marker light, or it could be like I've got it wired, where it's stop, turn, and tail. Now just remember, when you're doing this, I am mounting the plastic. So you need it properly mounted and secure, but don't try and run that nut all the way down. You do not need the grip of Hercules on there in order for it to be properly mounted and secured. If you go too tight, you may very well pull the nut through the plastic. So keep that in mind. I mean, if you look, it's tight, properly mounted and secured. Good. Now, every driver should be carrying a connector kit with them. We don't do as much wiring as we used to. Older trailers, we always had to replace lights. Not so much anymore. But if you're like me and doing modifications, which take that based on your company. Company doesn't allow modifications to the truck, don't do it. It'll get you in a lot of trouble. Want a custom truck? Go buy one. Hang on a second, I gotta grab a lighter. At least the wind isn't fighting me today. Now, the kit I'm using, all of the connectors are heat shrink. That is the best way you can go. It'll make everything waterproof. Now, I'm not going to bore you with making you watch me hook up every wire. The concept is simple. White to white, black to black, red to red. That's why when you build your wire harness, match up with the light. It's a standard color scheme. That's how it always works. And this is true of any light that you buy at a travel center. They follow a standardized color scheme. If you buy a 2-prong, it's going to be a white and a black. 3-prong, it's going to be a white, black, and red. Black is always your tail, white's always your ground. Red will always be your stop turn. Now when you get into specialized lights, like the Trucks Dual Revolution, typically yellow will be your auxiliary. An auxiliary power. Of course, I had to go and say something about the wind because now the wind's kicking up. I jinxed myself. Alright, so you have tail. Let's see if we have brake. And turn signal. Alright, that lollipop's wired. Now let's move on to our other project, tires. Concept is basic. This hose ties into the glad hand, and then you have a constant air supply as long as your truck's idles. And then, yeah, just like any other air hose, air up your tires. I wanted to walk through the features on these particular headlights. They have a 72 LED daytime running light, sequential turn signal, and projector headlights on both high beam and low beam. They do come in a chrome back. I've seen it. It doesn't look too good in my opinion. I went with the black. I think it looks better. I'm just going to run through that real quick and then I think I'm going to call this video good.